Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Open Book. I am Billy Price, co-founder of BILLY Footwear, and this is episode 9. Episodes 1 through 8 have been fantastic, and episode 9 is going to be even better. So those that are, have been to Open Book before in the past, thank you, welcome back. And those that are new to Open Book, I just want to give you kind of a heads up of what the program is. We've had a lot of customers that, they reach out with fantastic questions all the time. And a lot of those questions have to do with kind of or asking about want to have a better understanding about the brand, kind of our backstory of how we came to be and how we got to where we are today. Also about what kind of product we have currently, but also a question about what's coming in the future. And intertwined with all that, there's also great questions like, where can I buy my shoes? Or can I, I don't know, like sizing questions or something like that. So over time, we've been able to pick up just these fantastic retail partner associations. And that's both domestic, but that's also international. Because one of those questions was, do we ship international? Through BillyFootwear.com, we do ship international, but we've had the great privilege of having associations with a lot of other retail partners that are outside of the United States. And one of those fantastic retail partners is EveryHuman in Australia. And today we are very fortunate to have the founder of EveryHuman, Mr. Matt Skerritt. So let me bring him in right now.
How are you, Billy?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. So just so everybody knows, we are in completely different time zones. In Seattle here, it's 3 p.m. And in Australia, I believe it's 8 a.m. for you tomorrow.
Yep, 8 a.m. on Thursday. Yes, so we're in the future.
Well, don't tell me what happens. I want to keep it a surprise. Matt, I mean, it's been awesome having the partnership with you guys. And in preparation for this call, I was going through my email and I was trying to figure out when we first started talking. And my mind was really blown because it really was almost a year ago to the day. And for all that's been accomplished over this past year, it's just been truly incredible. So one, I want to thank you for that partnership, but two, I just want to give you the platform here to be able to kind of share how EveryHuman came to be and like kind of what the inspiration was and kind of like what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I created EveryHuman. I was essentially working in corporate services in the financial world and then moved back into the family business, which owns and operates aged care facilities. And that's how I came across the concept of adaptive clothing. And, one of the reasons people move into aged care is because they struggle to dress and struggle with the dressing process. And so that's how the concept of adaptive clothing, came across my table. And I then researched and realized that there's not just the elderly who need or may require adaptive clothing, but it's also people with disabilities, people with injuries. It's such a big portion of the world and people around the world. And then I sort of did a bit of research and saw that there wasn't a whole lot of adaptive clothing that was targeted towards the younger generations. And I thought there's absolutely no reason that there shouldn't be more. And I still believe that there should be more, but we're starting to see more and more younger brands come on into the market, which is awesome. But yeah, it was really speaking to people with disabilities themselves and parents as well, who there was just such a need from their perspective for greater adaptive clothing, greater adaptive footwear to assist in the dressing process. And it was really speaking to people like that which really drove with the inspiration behind EveryHuman and really pushed me over the edge to try and start EveryHuman and give it a bit of a go.
So I absolutely love that. I mean, especially, just the name of the business, EveryHuman. I mean, it speaks to that overall inclusive environment that creating an environment that every human, belongs, and like that level playing field, which is something that's very important to us. And I think your messaging and whatnot as a brand, I mean, you guys have just completely nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. It's, you know, we try to be as inclusive from every part of the brand, you know, the name, what we're trying to achieve, and inclusion and inclusivity is so important for what we both do, and especially in current times, you know, parts of society are very divided, and so inclusivity and inclusion is just it's so important. So yeah.
Right. So how did, I don't remember the story here. I mean, was it just a search on the internet that put you, like, how did we come on your radar? Because I honestly don't remember how we landed on your radar.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of sort of, you know, when I first started researching adaptive clothing and adaptive footwear, the US was a lot more progressed than what Australia was, and hopefully we're changing that a little bit now. But yeah, the US was a lot more progressed sort of 12 to 18 months ago, and I think it might have been a matter of the best adaptive clothing, the best adaptive footwear brands around the world.
Hey, look at that. I like those key terms.
Yeah, typed it into Google, and you know, Billy Footwear was center and came up in pretty much every article about the adaptive category. So I think that's what kicked it all off. And obviously, I loved the product. You know, it's super stylish, it's young, it's hip, it's universal. It's not necessarily truly adaptive, which is kind of where I want to go as a business type of thing as well. So yeah, and then I reached out to you.
Yeah, there it was. Yeah, it was really cool because at that time, we as a brand, we just had the great fortune of being able to like greatly increase our SKU count, because up to that really of June of 2019, all we had was kids shoes. And then going into summer for us, we were able to expand into both the smaller sizes for toddler and then also into the adult sizes. And right when that expansion happened, you reached out. So it was, and then what you guys were doing, I mean, it just, I don't know, it was just really, really cool. Now I know that EveryHuman, I mean, obviously Billy Footwear, the Billy shoes are on your platform, but I know you work with a lot of other brands too. Can you share about those?
Yeah, we work with some awesome brands, footwear and clothing brands, both based in the US, Canada. So we've got Is Adaptive, from who are based in Canada, and that is some awesome clothing for people in the seated position, whether it be, you know, jeans, tops, or outerwear, jackets. You know, we then work with other brands. Magna is another one, and we're really excited recently to have been lucky enough to be able to partner with Tommy Hilfiger, which is, you know, one of the biggest names that people associate with outside of the adaptive realm, and then probably one of the most recognized brands in the adaptive space. And so we partnered with them as of about 2 weeks ago, which
Congratulations, that's awesome. Wow, that's big.
Yeah, and it was one of our goals since starting EveryHuman was to be able to bring them on board, and so we're really excited about it.
Yeah. Wow. And I mean, and again, I just want to highlight that, you know, when you reached out a year ago, that's when EveryHuman was first launching. So, I mean, I would imagine you kind of have to pinch yourself going like, oh my gosh, look at all these fantastic brands I've been able to come in contact with, and like all the people and the customers I've been able to serve only 1 year's time.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's really awesome. And to see brands like that take that step towards greater inclusion is awesome as well. And you know, hopefully we see more brands move that way as well. But in saying that, we also work with some really great local Australian brands, and who have only really popped up in the past sort of 7 or 8 months as well. So it's also great to be able to partner with local brands and see, yeah, some more smaller brand names pop up in the adaptive space.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So one, one question that we get is when they're looking at the product on the Billy Footwear side, when they're looking at product that has that functionality, one of the common questions is whether or not it's covered in insurance. Now, the way the insurance works in the United States is, radically different than everywhere else on the planet. But it's really challenging to be. We're not deemed as a medical brand here in the States, so unfortunately, there's some real red tape when it tries to get covered. Now, I know Australia. I mean, they've got some really forward thinking, and I was hoping you could share that, because I know a lot of the customers that are going through EveryHuman are really able to utilize that system to really help them out.
Yeah, I mean, we're really lucky here in Australia, where the government has implemented, about 5 years ago, has implemented a scheme called the NDIS, or National Disability Insurance Scheme. And it's essentially a government-funded program which supports people with disabilities in their daily life. And it may be providing support or care, or assisting people with disabilities to get into the workforce, but also covered underneath the NDIS funding scope, I guess, is the ability to support assistive technology, which products such as the BILLY Footwear shoes, they fall under assistive technology. So not for everyone, but for some people who require the functionality of BILLY Footwear, these products can be claimed through the NDIS and the funding that's allocated to them, which is, it's really incredible.
Yeah, I'm jealous. That's awesome. For two reasons. I mean, one is obviously it helps the customer tremendously to be able to get the product that they need, but also it's really cool from a business side, because you're able to provide that product, and all of a sudden kind of the money side, like being hung up on the money side, kind of falls out of the equation. So it's I don't know, that's awesome in terms of a business perspective as well.
Yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, it's allowed for greater innovation, and we're seeing all this great, technology and all these great businesses providing different types of support, and it's really enabled us to do what we're doing a little bit. But for the person who isn't able to afford a purchase of shoes or clothing, it's just fantastic for them to be able to improve their independence and to be able to make a purchase where they haven't necessarily been able to previously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of business, I know that 2020 has been a very interesting year, a bit of a roller coaster of sorts. But I know that you guys got featured recently in, I think it was the Australian Financial Review, which was a pretty esteemed publication. So I was hoping you can share on that too.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. There was an article written about EveryHuman in the AFR, or the Australian Financial Review, which is probably the biggest financial business publication here in Australia. And it was really awesome to see in a mainstream media outlet, a focus on what we're doing, adaptive clothing and adaptive footwear. And we always you and I talk about how historically adaptive clothing has been a medical product, but we're now starting to see it turn into a mainstream fashion piece as well as a medical solution. And so, it was really awesome to see an article like that pop up and be written about it. Yeah. Very humbling.
Right. Yeah, it seems to be it's also, well, I don't know. When all of a sudden you look at a piece of paper like online, then all of a sudden you see your mug up on the screen, you're like, oh, wow, that just happened. How about that?
Yeah. I don't necessarily like getting in front of the camera either. So,
right.
It's very funny.
Yeah, I know you kind of have to push those comfort boundaries sometimes.
Yep, you do indeed.
Now I know that along those same lines, getting that type of attention and, getting that type of support. I know that, just looking through your Instagram feed and through Facebook, and even on your landing page at, everyhuman.com.au, you can see just awesome models strutting the product. And I don't know, some of the influencers you're working with, it seems like those guys have some really great stories too.
Yeah, we have had just some of the influencers we've worked with have been awesome. And they're, Emily Pryor. I'll give a bit of a shout out to a few people. Emily Pryor, she's been absolutely awesome. An ambassador for BILLY Footwear and EveryHuman, and Knox Gibson, Captain Noxie. Again, he's also done some great work, as well as some so they're I would call them teenage models, and then we've got some older people in their 20s and doing some great stuff as well. But we're really lucky to have worked with these guys. But I think it's really come down to the fact that they truly believe in the product, whether it be the BILLY Footwear product or the Tommy Hilfiger clothes or whatnot. I think it's because it's such a great product. It's something that they truly believe in, and I think that's why they have been so passionate about posting and being an ambassador for the brands. Yeah.
I definitely follow those guys, and every time they post a picture, it's great. First off, they wear the product so well, but also like every single one of them has just this spirit inside of them that just, you can really feel it through, like, coming out of the picture. So it's, all those guys are just doing some really exciting things. That's,
and I think they want to, there's that underlying passion for greater inclusion and greater inclusivity as well, which is prior to us even being there. So I think that's something that they all really are passionate about, and is probably driving the want to be so open about it. And so they're just awesome. Robin Lambert is another. Is someone else who's super stylish, but trying to push for that greater inclusivity around the world as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that, I guess those are the influencers that somewhat live in the limelight, kind of in the spotlight. But there's also so many customers that for the most part wouldn't really get recognized, but I'm sure you get feedback from other customers of just, possibly like life transforming situations. Does that occur as well?
Yeah, we have, we've received some really awesome feedback from, a lot of the times from parents and mums who are writing on behalf of the younger child. Mums tend to be a little bit more willing to write feedback, we've found. But yeah, we've received, there's this one instance where we've received some awesome feedback. I'm just going to pull it up, I hope you don't mind, and just read it from Jessica. And she wrote, "Hi, EveryHuman. I just wanted to say a huge thank you. I have a 2.5-year-old son who wears SMOs because of a rare genetic abnormality. We've had the hardest time over the last year trying to find shoes that look good but are functional. Mainstream shoes never lasted, never quite fit right, and it was such a huge source of stress for us. I found BILLY Footwear in the US. I was so relieved to find your website, as I was able to order a new thing was going to be a little bit quicker. I'm honestly so happy. I've even had a few tears of joy." So it's just, reviews like that make what we do so special. And what really drives me as someone who's involved in this business, just that's what makes all this so worthwhile. Hearing those stories of changing someone's life literally, where someone hasn't been able to put on a pair of shoes or to dress themselves, to being able to do so because of the Billy product or something else. It's just so rewarding, and it's so nice to get messages like that and positive in the ways that what you're doing has changed someone's life, and hopefully we can have some sort of positive impact as well.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's like, those words are so powerful. I mean, like, simple words, but just honest power, just because it's so filled with emotion.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I mean, when I hear reviews like that and customers reaching out, it's just such a mind trip for me, because this project started off as a very, very small idea. It was just like, I couldn't put my shoes on. So my co-founder, Darren, just happened to be working on a shoe project of his own, and he had some contacts in place, and we were able to spitball some ideas, and he came up with a prototype, and I was able to put it on for the first, and then able to put my shoes on independently for, like, ever since breaking my neck. And I broke my neck at 18. I put my shoes on again at 36. And just that, I mean, similar to that customer's response, I mean, just like the tears of joy, like just like being able to take on something that, for the most part, so many take for granted, to be able to do that all of a sudden independently. It just feels right to want to share that and to be able to pay that forward the best that we can. And I don't know, it's just been remarkable to be able to help one person who then helps two people, and they help two people, and they help two people. And then all of a sudden this small idea has stretched the Pacific Ocean, and now it's in Australia. So for you to be able to create your business and to be able to pick up all these other amazing brands, to be able to continue to spread that mission of inclusion. I mean, it's just so inspiring on so many levels through and through.
Yeah, I've never actually asked you, but you must have gone through that same experience of, struggling to put on shoes and then all of a sudden, gaining that independence. It must have been awesome for yourself as someone with lived experience.
It was good. It was a very special moment. And I mean, really, I've told this a time or two, but and I say it kind of tongue in cheek, but really two things happened when I had that experience. One was like me laughing and just going like, why on earth didn't we do this earlier? Why did it take 18 years to sort out this solution? But the second part was just because it was so special. It's like, you know what, we can't keep this to ourselves. I mean, that was the initial goal for me, to be able to put shoes on independently, to be able to have something that looked like everybody else and made just so I wasn't the one-off. I had that mainstream stylish shoe that one could, theoretically buy in the big department stores. And then it just all of a sudden, like, you know what, let's see what happens. Let's try to share this thing, and one step at a time. And then over time, after a bunch of steps, it truly is remarkable, I guess, what one can do. But it's a team effort for sure. I mean, it wasn't just the Billy and Darren show. It's like you bring people on, you work with amazing partners like yourself, and all of a sudden it truly is remarkable, like what can be accomplished when we all have the same kind of mindset to do good.
Yeah, absolutely. Something before, shoes about fitting in, and it's just so important, I think, for in particular about the Billy product, is they look like a regular pair of shoes. There's very little difference in terms of the looks besides the zip, which sets it apart from a shoe you'd find in a mainstream department store. And I think that's why people love it so much. Yeah.
Well, let's be I mean, truth be told, everyone loves a convenient shoe. So if we're able to create something that's easy for anybody to put on, it's gonna turn some heads.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I even wear the shoe, not yesterday, but the day before. And as someone who doesn't necessarily have a disability, I still wear the shoe, on a daily basis. So yeah, it's a testament to you guys for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Matt, I mean, these programs here, I mean, you and I can talk forever, and we definitely have. I'm not on a live show like this before, but these programs typically run about 30 minutes. We're in the last 5 minutes. Before I just kind of sign us off, I want to give you just the mic one more time, just to kind of share what's on your heart, or if there's anything that you'd like to cover, or anything. Anyway, it's kind of an open mic. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, firstly, so much thanks to you for, the great partnership that we've had to date. It's only been, not even 12 months by the sounds of it. But, I think we've worked really well together, and we've achieved some great things in the short time that we've been doing this together. But I also wanted to thank, the people in Australia here, hopefully watching, for the support so far, and hopefully we've made some positive to yours, and we're a small team, but hopefully sort of grow or now we can benefit the realm. We're going to continue to try inclusion and become as inclusive with so thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure. It really has. It's been a pleasure. So, thank you. So here we go, up on the screen right now. This is how you find EveryHuman. So it's everyhuman.com.au. So everyone that's watching, please take a look at their site, and you're going to see some great things. So everyone, this was episode 9. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we will have another open book. Not the same time. It'll probably be a few hours earlier. It'll be back to noon Pacific next week. But thank you so much for tuning in. And Matt, thank you again. And everyone else, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.